Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Thanks for tuning in to this special bowl edition of the American Huddle. I'm Haley Outen alongside Andy Gresh, and today we're previewing the UCF Knights taking on the Auburn Tigers in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl on New Year's Day. Andy, I know that so many people are looking forward to this matchup, especially down in Orlando, a very excited fan base, and they are coming off what has been an exceptional undefeated season.
It's been a hell of a roller coaster ride since Scott Frost got there 2 years ago. And we know that he is going to ride off into the sunset and head to Nebraska. But in Scott Frost fashion, he is coaching his football team in this game in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta coming up on New Year's Day. And you mentioned that the Knights faithful are excited. I mean, it's a hop, skip, and a jump to go from Orlando to Atlanta for them to be able to go see their football team play. I got to think that it's a great time right now to be a UCF Knight and getting ready to have a chance at a legitimate big boy and have the old 0 in the right-hand column at the end of the year.
The Knights, the only undefeated team remaining in the FBS, and they have 3 top 25 wins on their schedule. So heading to Atlanta, they have a lot to be proud of this year. But Andy, I think they have a lot more they want to prove.
Yeah, they do, and I think it's finishing the mission the right way for Scott Frost. And again, it's beating a team who was plenty worthy to go win themselves an SEC Conference Championship. And this is the kind of game, quite honestly, the UCF would never be able to schedule. These so-called Power Fives are afraid of the Power 6 American Athletic Conference teams where they don't want to play them during the regular season. And UCF has earned this opportunity to play Auburn. Now they've got to line up and deal with a very complete football team. UCF has not gotten the credit this year for the schedule that they played, Haley, but Auburn will be the most complete football team they will play all year. And emotionally, I know they're going to be ready for the challenge. The question is, can they hold up physically against one of the better teams in all of college football?
Well, UCF brings in a high-powered offense into this game and an offense that is leading the nation in points per game. We've seen them put up some pretty impressive numbers all year long. But what has impressed you the most about this offense and their quarterback, McKenzie Milton?
Well, McKenzie Milton is a big play guy, number one. So his ability to do it with his arm or his legs and make the big play, that is jumps off the page. Number two is the fact that they've got about 3 running backs who've all got around 500 yards, and they can just run it at you in waves. So if you get an injury in the backfield, it doesn't hurt you. If you have a guy who's a little better in pass protection, you can end up massaging that a little bit, maybe give him a couple carries, and then boom, here comes the play action stuff. And you know you have a running back there who can deal with any sort of blitzers or a free rusher who happens to come free if there's a missed assignment from an offensive lineman. So from my perspective, Haley, I think for UCF, possessing the football would be massively huge. That's going to go a long way to keeping their defense off the field and taking that Auburn offense out of rhythm. But something tells me here that it's going to be like 28-28 at the half or 28-20 at the half, and it's just going to be an aerial showdown in the second half with Auburn and then McKenzie Milton on the other side. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but if UCF can hang on to the ball for at least 35 minutes, increases their chances to win big time.
Well, you mentioned an aerial showdown, but something that the UCF defense will have to prepare for is the Auburn run game. How do the Knights slow down the Tigers?
Well, they've got to find a way to force everything outside. They can't get beat in between the tackles, letting Auburn and Dreon Johnson run the football. They'll be dead if they do. They've got to force it to the sidelines. They got to bottle it up, try to funnel everything to where the defensive backs can come up and help and make some plays. But let's remember, this will be arguably the fastest team UCF will play. So if you get too hung up in trying to shut down that run game, next thing you know, whoop, it's play action, and there's a guy running down the sidelines or in the slot because either you can't match up with speed or you got beat on a play fake, and then the speed really takes over, and the separation, it only takes that for the separation to happen, as UCF has proved this year. So they're going to have to be great on funneling the run game outside and not getting beaten play action.
Well, you know UCF is riding momentum heading into this game, looking to close out this magical journey, 13-0 in the Peach Bowl on New Year's Day. But for Auburn, they lost in the SEC Championship game, and earlier this year they had beaten Georgia. But who do you expect to see in this game? Is it the Auburn that beat Georgia earlier in the year, or the Auburn that lost to Georgia in the championship game?
I think it's going to be more the Auburn that beat Georgia and beat Alabama earlier in the year. I think you're going to get a great performance from them. And let's remember a couple of things. You know, with UCF, we did not really get into the whole where could Scott Frost end up. Well, Gus Malzahn, it was, is he going to find a way to keep his job? So I think there was a lot of pressure and a lot of turmoil around that program that is now gone. The head coach has signed an extension. They went to an SEC championship game. They won the Iron Bowl. So I think the pressure is off. What will be interesting to see is, will Auburn say, we're going to play our best, we're going to take this team seriously, and then if they get up early, is it, we got it in the bag, and they play to the whole, well, UCF isn't a big SEC team. No, they better be ready for 60 minutes, because if there's one thing Scott Frost has proven, is that his teams come to fight, they never die, and they'll die on the hill before they just roll over and say, hey, someone's bigger, faster, stronger than us. They're going to whip our tail. I think it's two diametrically opposite thoughts in the program. It's one where the pressure's off, we're pretty good, and another one where we want to make sure this head coach goes out the right way and we become the best team in UCF history.
Well, you have to imagine that the country will be tuning in. Will the Knights cap off a perfect season at 13-0 in Atlanta on New Year's Day? And you can tune in to all the action. Kickoff is set at 12:30 p.m. Eastern in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. You can tune in on ESPN, and the American Digital Network will also be in Atlanta, bringing you coverage. Thank you very much. Throughout the New Year's Day bowl game, will be there on the 30th all the way through the 1st. So be sure to follow along on Twitter at American_FB and head over to our Facebook page as well. We're going to have a ton of great content, and this is our last bowl preview, but definitely fitting to have it be talking about the UCF Knights. It's been a great season watching them, and it's been great having Andy in here all season long as well. So we want to thank you for all of your contributions.
It has been a ton of fun, and hopefully we get a chance to do this again next year, where we'll get more of your involvement on Twitter and people sending us questions.
All right, well, thank you, Andy, and thank you all for tuning into the American Huddle this season. It's been a great first year, a great journey, and we look forward to bringing you more coverage as the football season rolls on. So on behalf of Andy Gresh, one last time, I'm Haley Outen. Have a great new year.